What's up, everybody? Welcome to the FTI Podcast here on YouTube and wherever you listen to podcasts. Even though I think we're only on in like 3 places. So only in those 3 places that you listen to podcasts, 3 or 4. I think we're on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and Google Podcasts. Whoever uses Google Podcasts. I am one of your hosts, Kyle here, and Chris is over in the other square on your screen.
I was waiting for you to say, welcome to the FTI Podcast. It's Tuesday night. And I'm like, nope, it's Wednesday night.
Maybe I should just start seeing if you're paying attention.
9 times out of 10, I am not. You should know this by now. We've been friends long enough.
Yeah, I can see. I can hear myself now. I have to turn my volume up. That normally helps if you turn your
Kyle's
volume
had a
up.
lot of problem with volume today, guys. We were sitting here before we started, just mouthing to him, can't hear you, can't hear you, can't hear you.
And then I couldn't hear you, and it was it's always a thing. Oh, that's weird. Okay, so it's weird. On one of these, there's 0 latency, and then on one setting, there is latency. And it's fine if I can hear myself with 0 latency, because it's nice. Because sometimes I feel like if I can't hear myself, then I'm just like yelling or talking too loud.
I'll constantly find myself, talking all the way back here. It's like, nope, I got to be closer to these microphones.
You can bring it closer to you.
My mic arm's about extended out as far as it can go.
Well, yeah, mine is almost. These are just those cheap ones. I think it's got like a bend in it and everything.
Mine's just
junk
because of everything on my desk. The easiest place to put it so it stays out of the way is way far away from me.
Hey, at least you didn't have any computer issues today.
That's because I started my computer when I got home at 2:00 today to make sure it didn't want to Windows didn't want to decide it needed to update and that it wasn't going to run right until it updated.
And then it was me who was the one that was late getting down here because I was up cooking dinner. I was making some stuffed shells. Sans ricotta. I don't like ricotta. Ricotta is a weird cheese. So it was just like a shredded Italian blend.
We already know how I feel about things like ricotta.
Oh, I'm also going to be making probably this weekend some homemade 5-cheese mac and cheese. I'll make sure to drop you some off this weekend while you're working.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, sorry for the reminder there.
So,
yeah, I won't be doing anything this weekend.
Yeah, it's one of the. I saw you this past weekend for a birthday party and then working this weekend. So it's like racing season ended and just back to real life of all of that kind of stuff.
Of all the boring stuff. Yeah, so I was planning on going to Mid-Ohio this weekend, but for some reason the American Endurance Racing never got back to me on my credential request. So I guess I'm not going, which actually, thankfully, because it's supposed to rain, I think all day Saturday.
I just pulled up the weather and I'm like, 53 degrees with a 59% chance.
So it's going to be cold and rainy. And I've had enough rain at Mid-Ohio for this year. So no thanks.
Yeah. Well, we'll just kind of get into things. I told you over the weekend that with Mid Ohio having the 2 SVRA races, one is with Formula Race Production and one is with Trans Am.
So I did look that up because I started putting together my list for 2024 of races that I want to go to, and Trans Am at Mid Ohio is the weekend of 6/21.
Yeah.
And NHRA is 6/27 through the 30th.
Okay.
So it's the next weekend.
Then,
and
okay.
I don't know if there's anything at Mid Ohio that weekend though, because IndyCar is the
would
next
be the
weekend.
first weekend of July.
Yeah, it would be the 5th, 6th, and 7th. So I don't know if anything's gonna be there unless IMSA's there. But I don't know
I think
what
IMSA's May.
Are they in May? That's nice.
Yeah, I think so.
Hopefully they're, for my sake, because I want to go back to IMS, hopefully they're not anywhere close to when IndyCar is running there. Like, let it be on qualifying week or whatever.
Yeah.
Where nobody really, it would be cool to go, but who cares? And then no NASCAR at Mid Ohio. That's official.
Yeah, no NASCAR this year.
And according to Trans Am's schedule, they won't be at Detroit either.
I saw that. I was just gonna. I was checking that to verify. Yeah, Mid Ohio IndyCar is the weekend of the 7th.
Yeah, so maybe we'll be able to actually do the whole
full NHRA weekend.
Yeah, that'd be
now
nice.
You just have to figure out if you can convince your dad to camp 2 weekends in a row.
Probably.
I mean, okay, wait. Your dad's not the one you have to convince. It's everyone else.
Yeah.
But your wife was really mad that we went to NHRA last year and she didn't. So,
well, that's because her uncle goes, and he goes a lot, and then it's just a party. So he goes and drinks and parties, and so I think that's what she wants to go do, is the party aspect, not the. But she actually enjoys drag racing more than like conventional racing, I guess. Even though drag racing is probably the more conventional because it's probably the original.
She likes it as much as your dad likes dirt racing.
My dad doesn't mind it. My mom hates it.
Were you not sitting there when your dad went on a rant about it?
When? Was that this weekend?
Yeah.
No, I must not have.
He was complaining about that weekend they went out to Wayne about how dusty it was.
I mean, that probably was one of the
that's what I said. I said, I don't know if it's ever really that dusty. I said, yeah, we don't notice as much because we're sitting in the infield. We're out in the infield, so we don't see any, we don't feel that dirt. But yeah, he was saying, every lap they come by and they just fling you with dirt and it's in your eyes and blah, blah. I was like, well, probably should have brought safety glasses.
Yeah, I didn't even think to tell him to. It's not dusty where I am.
Yeah.
I always forget that.
Doesn't bother me at all.
Centripetal force.
But yeah, that would definitely make up for not having NASCAR, is if we could do the 3-weeker again and vintage Trans Am camp, NHRA camp, IndyCar camp.
Yeah, it'd also be nice to not have to go and like this year where we had to split our time between Mid Ohio and Norwalk, where it's not super far away, but it's far enough away to be annoying.
It was like an hour, so it was just enough that like trying to it was like, all right, let's stop. All right, meet me at the campsite, or let's move the car here. Let's drive there. Let's go establish ourselves at Norwalk. All right, let's go do the thing. Oh, wait, we ate lunch at 10:30. It's now 6:00. We're both starving, but it's an hour back to the.
And it's also raining. So
yeah,
we're not going to get to, it's, oh, they're going to start here soon after this like second drying session that they've done since we've been here. And then it's like, okay, well, I don't want to be here until like 11 o'clock at night and then try to find somewhere in middle of nowhere, Ohio.
I was just going to say
to find to eat, because I'm pretty sure I don't know if the local at 93, 97 or whatever would be closed because it's a bar, but
we could have probably just gone up to the one exit you can get off at for Mid-Ohio, where that Walmart is, and
that Mansfield
exit or something.
Yeah,
but
could have went to Walmart and got some subs. Did you just change your koozie?
I finished one.
Oh,
I'm drinking the drinks your wife half yelled at me for having, or was shocked that I had.
Hey, it's always acceptable to drink at a kid's birthday party.
Well, especially when the kids were just off doing their own thing.
Yeah, my basement's finally recovering from that. And I currently have your Easy Up set up in my basement.
Why did you just take it off? And
well, it's easier to just dry it set. I mean, my basement's
True.
big, so it's easy enough.
True. Yeah, someone had made the comment while I don't know, might have been while I was leaving or something. They were like, "Oh, we set this up and no one's even been out here the whole time."
I mean, some people were out there smoking, so
it worked.
Yeah, it worked fine. The cooler is still in my front yard.
Oh.
And there's still drinks in it. I'm sure they're still cold, so hey.
These were sitting in my car until I got home from work today and was like, I should take those inside. Especially because I have a 12-pack of regular Monster in my trunk too. And all week I would just walk out to work and go grab one.
You don't want to be like that one bus driver that got fired.
Yeah.
For drinking a White Claw.
Yeah, so I would
she didn't realize it was a White Claw, and
I'd reach into my trunk and purposely be like, "No, those are the bad ones."
You didn't want to have an instance like Sharon Speedway?
No.
Where they just hand you a beast and you're like, "Shit, I need to chug this real quick."
Well, yeah, it was like because they only had the like low carb ones, and I was like, can I have the pink Monster? Not even thinking the beast. I don't even know if I remember if they had the beasts, if I knew they had the beasts. And she just hands me this beast, and I was like, I didn't realize it till I'd walked away. I was like, oh, okay.
Sir, you do not look 40. They should have ID'd you.
Okay, that's the weird thing. I had to buy, when I bought this Monster the other day, they ID'd me and blah, blah, blah. But if I go into the vape shop, they don't ID me. I went to the gas station the other day, and this obvious senior citizen in front of me was buying, I think, cigarettes, and they ID'd her.
Yeah, they've been doing that. I think some of the gas stations near me have been hit recently in a failed inspection, like secret inspection, and so now they're just over vigilant.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Walmart back in the day. I like it. We're not even talking racing at this point. It's just BSing. At least we're doing it live instead of
not
for 15
off
minutes.
the air, yeah.
But when Walmart, they used to ID everyone in your party if you were buying alcohol. And it's like, how is this even legal? Like,
Who? I was with someone. It had to be you, or I don't know, because I don't hang out with anybody
why
but
don't
you.
they ever ID for lottery?
Yeah, they don't care.
They don't care. Yeah, screw it.
But
You can waste your money.
I was with somebody, and I wasn't sure if they had their wallet or something, and they only ID'd me. And yeah, I had like PTSD flashbacks of like buying alcohol somewhere, and like I must have just been 21 because my one friend was like just almost a year younger than me, and we got denied alcohol somewhere, probably Walmart, because he didn't have his ID.
Yeah, that happened.
And he was checking out at like a separate self-checkout.
Really?
Yeah, like the lady like saw that we were standing together talking. Yeah, so it had to have been Walmart. We were standing together talking in line, so she like went over to check his ID.
Yeah, that's kind of because Josie and I mean, I wasn't even 21 yet when we got married, and but after I did turn 21, it was a few years before she did, and so we would go to Walmart, and I would want to grab, an alcoholic beverage or something, and I would have to be like, all right, go to the self checkout down there and check out, and I'll go to one where there's an actual person, and then we'll meet up after. So that way, because we had at one point, but it was funny because I could go into a bar and she could sit at the bar with me, and I could buy a drink and she could drink it. I was like, this makes no sense.
The weird laws and just the people who work at places like Giant Eagle or Walmart and stuff like that, where they're just like I don't blame them. They're afraid of losing their jobs and stuff. So they're just super careful, super vigilant about it. But yeah, it is kind of funny. It's like the cashier at Giant Eagle is stopping me from buying this, but yeah, you can go into the dive bar down the street and it's perfectly fine. They don't even care.
Yeah, this is like almost every bar I go to or restaurant, I don't get ID'd. And then especially if I have the kids
Yeah.
with us, like if I have Caden with me and I go to like a grocery store or whatever, or convenience store, I don't get ID'd at all. Now I'm sure here in a few years, if Gab's with me, I'm sure they're gonna ID. They're gonna want her ID. I'll be like, it's my daughter. Like, they're like, no, it's not. I'm like, I am 30. I'm not definitely not dating a 15-year-old.
Yeah.
This is my kid.
Dude, last thing, I finally got the one pimple to pop on my face, and I was like, real sad Gab wasn't at the birthday party this weekend to do it for me. Because it bugged me for like a week and a half.
Yeah, I got one coming in right here. And it's annoying.
But
I think we've covered almost every topic.
Speaking of this weekend,
oh yeah, are you gonna go watch Taylor Swift, the Taylor Swift movie?
No. Did you get to watch? I know you had the birthday party. Did you get to watch Eddie of Petite?
I did not.
Well,
we went to.
Oh,
so we cleaned up a little bit, and then we took all of the children to. I'll give the guy a shout out because it was pretty cool. This is the second year doing it. Big Mike's Automotive out in Barberton. He does this free haunted house. You just sign like a little liability waiver, and then you can go in and it was really good. It was even better this year. There were 2 buildings involved, but we took all 5 kids aging from 3 to 12, I think, and the 3-year-old went through it twice. because she wanted to go through it twice. And she was,
Who went through with her the second time?
I did. I had her
Okay.
both times. And then, because I asked her after the first one, two of the girls wanted to go through again. Caden and then another little girl didn't want to go through even the second part of it. They were done. The chainsaws really scared the hell out of them. And then so we went and we were like, oh well, let's go through again. We already signed our waiver, we have our wristband. And so I asked the 3-year-old, I was like, do you want to go back through? She, yes. All right, let's go. She wasn't even really scared. She wasn't crying at anything. She was, would be like, but and then but it's so annoying if you go through with a baby and they're like, oh, we won't. No, scare her. I want you to scare her.
Please scare her. She's a nightmare
scare
sometimes.
Scare the child. I brought her here for a reason.
It's really funny because this is where my brain went Saturday when it might have been your wife had texted me or like Snapchatted me a picture and said going to Mike's place or something. And I didn't even put 2 and 2 together that you guys were going to the haunted house. I thought you took all the kids to Mike's Place restaurant in Kent.
You know what's really funny though? Because we had family in town from Tennessee, and a lot of the whole family was going to Mike's Place.
Okay, okay.
Too. So maybe you got the two mixed up and heard.
No, I think what it is I'm friends with all your dad and stuff on Facebook too.
Oh, okay.
So I probably saw your dad's Facebook status because your dad loves to update everything on Facebook.
He does.
I can live vicariously through your dad because he's a prolific Facebook poster.
The thing is, when he doesn't post, people complain. They expect it from him. Like, so when we're on vacation and stuff, people want updates of what they're doing and what we're doing. And it's like,
I know your dad's doing something fun because he goes live on Facebook.
Yeah. And it's like, we do not have that exciting of a life. But some people are like, oh my gosh, you guys go on vacation. I'm like, yeah.
So that explains it. I was probably, making this one big thing. I'm like, there is no way they're taking all of those kids to that busy restaurant. They are brave souls. Because I don't know if I've ever been to that restaurant or driven by that restaurant, and it's not jam-packed busy.
Yeah, I don't think my my wallet could survive that. Taking 5 children.
I'll take 5 orders of chicken tenders, please.
Yeah. Can I do you have like just a giant basket of them that they can all just eat out of? Do you want extra? Nah. Just pour ketchup on. Just squirt the ketchup onto the chicken tender.
I forgot my lights are going in different colors, and I was like, why is my screen so orange? But yeah, Petite was pretty good. Acura Meyer Shank Racing wins it overall, and
it was that fan power.
It's kind of one of those wait, is it a good idea for Acura to drop Meyer Shank? Because
yes, because they need to focus wholly on their IndyCar program.
But it's the winning program, though. I mean, I don't know. I didn't. I don't know if Wayne Taylor has any wins on the year. I meant to look that up before we started today. I'm sure they have, but yeah, it's kind of one of those like, is it a good idea to give up on Wayne Taylor because of that thing? I know you like hurt the reputation, this, that, and the other. But
isn't Wayne Taylor with not Andretti, Rahal?
Is it Ray Hall or is it Wayne Taylor with Andretti?
Hold on.
Speaking of Ray Hall, though, did you see that Bobby and Graham are going to field 2 Superbike teams this year?
I did see that this afternoon.
Which kind of brings into question, what the hell did Bobby Rahal get into other than just racing that he has the capital behind him to have all of these racing teams? Because he didn't make that much money in IndyCar.
He must have just really great sponsors.
Man, I guess so, but that'll be cool. We'll get to see those bikes at Mid-Ohio, and we all know how much everyone at Mid-Ohio loves Graham Rahal, so and
my
Bobby.
Gosh, it's gonna be I forgot bikes are gonna be at
it'll actually be worth it to go to
vintage
bike days this year.
Oh, it is Andretti, Wayne Taylor Andretti.
Okay, I thought so, because
I thought it was maybe isn't
RL
Rahal involved in one of the teams?
I think so.
I know they have a BMW team.
Yes.
I thought they had an actual yeah, they do.
I think the BMW hypercars are Rahal.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, okay, that makes more sense. Well, although maybe the IndyCar team just has a lot of backing from Letterman.
It could be.
And you just put the Rahal name first as oh, look, it's Bobby Rahal in IndyCar, great.
Plus LRL doesn't have the same ring to it, I guess.
But yeah, I mean, Petit was pretty good. I had it on most of the day Saturday. I'm surprised your wife didn't yell at us for having racing on our phones while we were sitting there.
She was too busy.
I was going to say she was a little too busy entertaining everybody to see us sitting in the corner watching USAC and IMSA. But yeah, that same thing you had Logan Seavey winning the USAC championship.
Jeez.
So, I mean, we had kind of talked about it a little bit there. It was pretty much a guarantee at this point, I think. But yeah, Logan Seavey winning that Triple Crown or Silver Crown.
Trying to find who's in the points lead. Is IMSA done? Was that their last
done.
race?
Yeah.
Okay.
1 second.
Oh, I don't know what just happened to his camera. Something happened there. Yeah, the next IMSA race is in 92 days, and that's the Roar before the 24 at Daytona.
Oh, camera fell.
Yeah, it did.
There it goes again.
Oh.
I kind of must have forgot somebody out of my bedroom and couldn't figure out why I was hearing like a banging on my door and then him barking. Come on.
Yeah, the next, as I was telling the folks on the thing here, like an old person, on the face space, the next race is in 92 days.
Yeah, so that would be Rolex.
Yeah, that's the Roar before the 24.
Which is a sprint race which is, I think, the weekend after Chili Bowl. Yeah. Someone is traumatized because they got locked out of my room for the past half an hour.
I'm a sad boy. Hey, the good thing is I will earn my IMSA patch next year for my camera bag.
That is if they sell that.
Well, no, I already have. Because
Yeah,
I
was
have
gonna say
shot
you did
the pilot
last year. I was gonna say, do you have an IMSA patch? Because I know I had to buy. I bought mine from one of the tents at Mid Ohio.
No, I do not. But they do have pilot challenge ones on their website for $5. That's not bad.
I think IMSA, if I remember correctly, they have a big tent like IndyCar does.
Do they?
Yeah, they've got like a big all-in-one tent because that's where I got my Vassar. I have, like I was saying, when the Vassar Sullivan Lexus wrecked this weekend that I bought. See, their jerseys are super fancy. Their jerseys are more your style. Their jerseys are polos.
Oh, that is fancy. Oh, is it the zipper polos?
Yeah.
Oh, those are nice. Those are like the IndyCar team kit.
Picture me walking around in one of those all day.
Oh, you would look like a total douche.
Dude, you got to see this. 1 second again.
Oh, that's fancy.
And then the best part is,
see, I like the chevrons on that one. That one looks good. I like the
what'd you say there? I didn't hear you.
I like the chevrons on that one. On the side. We need some fancy ass shirts like that.
The second one is from the Audi Unitronics team that they ended up sharing like 3 of my pictures. I think that was my first big like Facebook, Instagram share was from that Audi Unitronics team because I had a friend who worked at ECS, the big European car parts place that is local to us. I had a friend who worked there and was working a little table for them who got me a shirt because I got them pictures because they didn't have a team photographer there.
If any team needs some team photographers, Ohio Motorsport Photography is always looking for clients.
Hey, don't worry. Darren Nida followed me on, I think he follows me on just about every social media now.
We'll travel for money.
I mean, next year could be pretty big if All Stars kind of sticks to the schedule and we can get into Fremont, Attica. I think if it comes down to it, I think for the All-Star shows and stuff at Attica, I'll just pay my way in with, pit passes and stuff, even though, it sucks paying that $40. I think I might pay my way in just to try and build some of that clientele.
Well, I think Attica and stuff, we should be able to get in there.
Yeah.
They, for some reason, they just don't do it mid-season, which is so weird. So what do you do if you're traveling with one of the series that you have to?
I think at that point you just pay for a pit pass and go in. It's just one of those, like, you kind of just chalk it up to expenses or something.
Yeah.
I know you keep a whole log of that. I'm not responsible enough to do any of that. So I was thinking about it because some of the things we've posted, some of the different, I've with my newer camera and stuff, I've tried working on TikToks and things, and a lot of those TikToks will get some attention. And a lot of these guys, I've talked to Connor Morell and Darren Nida, and honestly, when I sold that picture to ABR back there, a lot of these teams aren't getting these quality pictures,
which is so weird. Like,
well, I think it's.
I mean,
a lot of it we've seen has been a lot of the flash, high shutter. It looks like a posed picture kind of deal,
which is so funny that what we do at a dirt race is so trivial in like the road course space. Like,
Yeah.
oh, pans are just pans. Like,
yeah.
But at the dirt track, it's like this mystical thing that they've never seen artistic photography, and it's not even like that groundbreaking of stuff we're doing. It's just typical motorsport photography.
I mean, in the case of like Wayne and maybe even Sharon, we haven't got as much feedback from Sharon this year. I think it's a lot of just we'll put that extra effort in. We've talked about it on here, and we've talked about it, is a lot of these guys are older, used to the film photography days. So it's kind of all right, you got to get the picture up and online or to your editor or whatever as fast as possible. So and we've also talked about this, kind of my psychosis about the pictures and stuff is I won't post it unless it's up to my standard. So my standard is a little high on some of this stuff. So I think once you see some of these pictures that it's not 700 pictures of a car sitting still or what appears to be sitting still, it's a little shocking for some of the fans.
Yeah, even like our high shutter stuff is still done in an artistic way. It's not just like a side on, like it's good head on there. You can still see action in the photo.
Yeah, and this is not putting anyone down. I think it's just having an eye for those things. It's, I told you I had edited some pictures for you this weekend, and a lot of my process is just down to cropping now, is just cropping that image to get the full feel of it. Just because there's another quarter of a car in the picture, well, to me that sometimes takes away from the picture you have.
Yeah, you don't want to see, the front, the little bit of a front end of a car.
Yeah, you've got, this car that you've taken at 1/60th of a second, perfectly focused, this, that, and the other, and in the corner is, a lapper and completely out of focus. It's just the front nose wing or something. So yeah, I think one of the things is just with us, we've taken the time to kind of master some of the stuff. Right behind my desk, I've got a digital picture frame with pictures from most of it's last year's IndyCar and truck race, because I've never updated the memory card in it. But I also have one at work that is just this year's pictures from like April to mid-August. And it's funny just watching that on a daily basis, the progression of how I've learned to take the different pictures. Yeah, how I've framed my Lightroom presets that at this point are just going to be my signature. So yeah, I think that's one of the things is just, I'll take the time to apply all my presets. And honestly, for the most part, my presets are just changing the contrast, highlights, and shadows just a little bit.
Well, yeah, and you've kind of created this this mood or feel for our work.
My pictures are as emo as I am.
Very true. But I think you
can
also
say
see
it.
just super over saturated photos too.
I think
Or people aren't using a low f-stop lens, and there's a lot of graining in their photo from having to bump their ISO up so high if they're not using a flash.
well, and it kind of makes me think of we're kind of getting deep in the weeds here on this one, but I mean, I guess this will kind of give you a look at what we do with everything that we're out on the track doing. It's not just kind of pointing a camera and trying to take a picture. I'm sitting here looking at all 4 of my cameras on my desk because Sunday I was trying to clean them up a little bit from this year. But it's the investment there. This lens right here cost me what most people's camera did with lenses. This lens, if I wouldn't have found a miraculous Facebook Marketplace deal the same way, now I'm looking at buying one of these for my new camera, and it's like, well, crap. I'm going to have to do 3 of these long Saturdays I'm doing this week to afford to get that lens, even though I already have one, because I'm crazy and I want to focus on some video too, because I don't want to just take pictures all the time.
Yeah, because I mean, at some of these events, and I've kind of, my dad, he's like, what do you need to go take another, like, you've already taken like 100 pictures of, like, especially Mid Ohio Indy car. He's like, you already took 100 pictures of these cars. What do you need to take pictures of this hot lap session? You've already taken yesterday's hot lap session. Well, things could happen. You got to be there. This is the time that you practice getting shots, so that way during the race you can quickly go to these different spots that you already have mentally.
I think the Cup race at Indianapolis was the perfect example of that for me, because I hated all the pictures I had from Friday and Saturday. I don't even know if I posted my IndyCar or Xfinity pictures, because I was just like, I don't, I'm going through, I'm calling, I'm like, I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like that. And then I get to my Cup Series pictures, and I was so on it for the Cup Series pictures that, like I said, I have that picture frame at work that's going behind my desk or my toolbox, and I see those pictures and I'm like, damn, I took those pictures. But I also think, and this week, this is where I was kind of going on my tangent, I got a message from one of the guys at Wayne asking if we caught their flip on the front stretch. It was the guy that flipped on the front stretch in the sprint cars. And I laughed because we never get the wrecks.
No,
I was laughing because I was like, I think I still need to respond to him, but no, it's like Kyle and I both saw that happen, but I think we both were panning on the car in front of him, or the cars in front of him. Something will happen in front of us. We could both be standing there. He'll be looking left and I'll be looking right.
Yeah, and it will be literally dead center.
Yes. Every time. Doesn't matter. Or we'll be in turn 4 and everything will happen in turn 2. We go to turn 2 and everything starts happening in turn 4. I think that's happened.
Or I'll turn my my Z30 off, and then something, I'm switching, from video back to photo, and then that's where it happens. I'm like, you gotta be freaking kidding me. Like,
yeah, so that's been like the struggle all year. But I do think there are people that will kind of focus on trying to get. They want to get those shots of the carnage, even post wreck. They might not even get the wreck that end up. They're too focused on that, and it just ends up kind of being a almost sitting still picture of a wrecked car.
Yeah, and it's
a lot of the times I will not take a picture of a car that is wrecked in front of me. I won't do it because I'm posting that on Facebook, hoping that people will share the pictures, will maybe come and buy the pictures. And I don't want to just show someone's worst moment on the track. If you catch a good image of the wreck itself happening, some of them are interested in that because, I mean, how cool is it to have a picture of you upside down in your car flying through the air? But
or it's nice to take a picture of, like, if the driver appears to be okay and they're climbing out of the car, like a hero shot.
yes,
or if a car is on fire and they're getting out, that's
those.
Well,
if
a car is on
pictures.
fire, that's a badass picture.
But I don't care to take a picture of someone riding around damaged. Now,
that's
on that same topic, if it's somebody riding around damaged still racing, and you can get a cool high shutter speed of that body panel hanging off and they're still ripping it, I'll take that every day. I want those pictures. Because you're like, that's like ultimate tough guy. Like, look at me, I got half a car. I'm still ripping it around.
We're not there to be insurance adjusters.
I've got half a car. I'm riding around the bottom just to salvage 3 more laps. So, I finished 22nd instead of 23rd. So, that's my rant on that is, I think we could next year, even paying for some of the events. I was talking to my boss today that I was really hoping we can get Eldora next year and even do some of these big events, even though it's really only like 1 or 2 big sprint car events. But even going out to these big late model events, maybe we can garner some more support through the season. And some of these big late model guys can share some of the thing. Because if there's one thing I've learned in the last year is everyone knows everyone at these dirt tracks.
Oh, yeah.
They're all friends with each other. I mean, since our buddy Daniel added me on Facebook in like July, my whole Facebook suggested friends is just all sprint car guys.
Yeah, same. And I've friended a lot of them.
Yeah,
a lot of the ones. I think I'm friends with almost every sprint car driver at Wayne County on Facebook. And
I posted a TikTok and reel this week of Tyler Street, the track champion in 410s. And he was, I mean, just they're forever grateful for some of these shots we get. And, so the difference of what they've seen in the past to what we're getting. And hey, I'll take it. I like the attention from everyone. I just opened my Facebook or my TikTok, and Leighton Wagner had followed me, who I think is another one of the Wayne County guys. Oh, Pennsylvania. So I probably have shots of him at Sharon or Wayne County. So but yeah.
Talking about dirt, World of Outlaws will be closing a chapter for a very significant racetrack in Texas. I think this weekend. It will be the 89th World of Outlaws race that has been ran at Devil's Bowl Speedway, and one of the last if not the last
I
race
think it is the literal last race.
to be raced there, which I find extremely strange that this track that seems to be a big deal in the dirt world, and especially World of Outlaws, who has a lot of money, how it's still being sold off for development, basically. Like you
Because
would figure that um, whoever owns World of Outlaws, the World of Outlaws organization, would have bought the track to
I
save it.
see. I don't know if we've talked about this before with our local asphalt track, Barberton. That I don't know if once a city gets in with these developers and stuff, if there is ever a chance of saving these tracks.
Yeah, it's just weird though that
I don't know if they ever even have a chance to attempt to save these tracks once these big money developers come in and they're going to build these houses. 50 houses on a development is going to be a lot more tax money to a city or township than a racetrack that's open 6 months a year, even somewhere in Texas.
It's still just, and it's such a nice looking facility too. Like I'm pulling this up here on Google Maps, and it's really nice for how a dirt track is. For it to
I saw that this weekend, and I don't.
It looks like it has like a paved parking lot, or it's gravel. Like it's not even a grass parking lot. Like
grass parking lot. Yeah,
it's super nice. Like they're just gonna throw it away for housing in literally like the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
and it looks like there's an abandoned track on the land. Yeah, let's see if I can pull this up here. It looks like there's another track. Yeah, look, so here's the track. It looks like there's another abandoned one over here. You can't see my mouse. That's annoying.
Yeah, I mean,
it looks like there's an abandoned track. That is definitely a dirt track.
Yeah.
Or a track of some sort. Like it even has an entrance and everything.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I don't know.
The trees grew.
I think the way
look at that parking lot. That is beautiful. It's a nice park. It's a nice track.
I was gonna say it's not a grass parking lot where I'm afraid to rip the bumper off of my little car.
It's so weird seeing these tracks that have like the wall is all the way out here in the turn.
Yeah,
like you just have like this berm and then flat. It's so weird to me.
I think it's one of those like things like you're so used to your home track. Like, we both grew up at Barberton, so you go somewhere else and you're like, you go to Midvale and the pits aren't in turns 3 and 4. They're on the backstretch.
Yeah. And
so,
then, Lorraine, they're on the backstretch and on 1 and 2. And there's a wall in 1 and 2, but there's no wall in 3 and 4. And
Painesville
there's no walls.
Yeah. So I think it's just one of those
you
ones
go, I think, around the backstretch to get off the track.
Yes.
Like there's a road. Yeah.
Yeah, I've only ever been to Painesville for drifting, weird. But yeah.
I haven't been to Painesville in a long time. And
I kind of wanted to go for figure 8 this year, but also like where would you really take those pictures? Because you're not in the infield for that. So
no. God, no.
But
I mean, you could be in one of the other I don't know if Painesville is big enough for anybody to ever actually stand in the infield there.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I'm sure they do, but that
I did for drift. No, wait, I
didn't.
That was
safe.
Midville. Speaking of dirt and everything, just to continue on, and a reoccurring topic on this channel, Jade Averdezian won the Extreme Outlaws Championship. 17-year-old female, so maybe we can get a girl into major racing who can actually win some races.
That would be amazing if we could get, a female driver, super involved in sprint cars.
She's a Toyota development driver. I think she's raced a handful of. I'm confusing her with Tori Bellinger. But she's a Toyota development. She's on the same path that Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell were on that got them to the Cup Series. So I don't know. Maybe
there's a girl that I follow on Facebook that I'm friends with on Facebook. I can't remember. It's something Bryson Racing.
Is it Kylie?
It might be. But I think she.
But yeah, the Extreme Outlaw Midget Series.
Kaylee Bryson Racing.
Yes.
I think she does USAC Silver Crown and midgets and stuff. I think she's in like Indiana area.
That is one of my goals for next year, is to make it out to a midget race. I don't know. Ever since watching the Chili Bowl last year, I really like those midget cars.
We're all in Ohio actually races those though. Just Eldora?
I think Eldora had one. I want to say Fremont, or maybe it was Atomic had one. One of the tracks recently might have had one, but I think that Extreme Outlaws is kind of a newer series, so maybe they'll expand. Oh, just going through my phone because I screenshot things throughout the week that I want to talk on here, and I saw this one. It was yesterday. It was a tweet by Parker Kligerman, and I laughed so hard I wanted to send it to you last night, but I wanted to save it for here because this is you and I when your wife is around. So let's set this one up. It's from Parker Kligerman. My girlfriend Shannon on the phone tonight as I'm telling her an idea for The Money Lap, his podcast. I wish you had hobbies. This is not a leisure call, but an evening business meeting. It's your wife yelling at us anytime we talk about. So don't you two have anything else to talk about?
No.
It's all I do. It's the one night. It was, I think, the last All-Stars race or something. Your wife like snaps me, and it's like, he's so lame or something. You were watching the race. I reply back like, same.
Yeah, when here next month when we go on our weekend trip, our overnight trip, we're gonna be sitting in a hot tub or something, just talking about racing.
We're gonna just be sitting there like, oh man, it's been 2 fucking months since I've been at the track. I'm dying.
We're gonna be racing around the lazy river.
Yeah. But I saw that.
Oh, look at that guy. He's getting ahead of the other one.
I saw that last night and was cracking up. I'm like, oh, this is this is true.
Well, Parker can lead us into NASCAR, which I did not get to watch.
I watched the whole thing because I was sitting here editing, and like, I'm not going to know what to do with my Sundays now. Like, honestly, we've only got
4 races left. Three.
Miami, Martinsville, Phoenix. I'm not going to know what to do with my Sundays of not sitting here in this same spot editing on this side of the desk with the NASCAR race up. I ended up getting up Sunday at like 7:30 in the morning and had to wait to edit pictures so I could, because I've said I've got it down to such a science. I did the 300 pictures in 2 hours. I had to sit here and just I had to wait to edit the picture so I could watch him or do it while I watch the race. And it's like, well, crap, what am I going to do for the next, 6 months for editing pictures, but, we've only got 3 more weeks of racing. So,
Yeah. So Larson picked up the win. Now, was he pretty strong throughout the race then?
won all 3 stages or both stages and then the race. Yeah.
He won 2 stages and still won the race?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, this one, it was tire wear was up to par. So they were pitting, they were doing a green flag stop every pit stop and then, or every stage and then at the brakes. And yeah, I mean, he completely dominated the race. I think who was on pole, Reddick or somebody. He led some laps, and once Larson got in the lead, it was nothing. But I mean, this Kyle Larson win, he did it in 21 when he won the championship. This gives them 2 weeks to prepare for Phoenix. He's already good at Miami. Miami, they run the wall all race long. So we all know how Kyle Larson and the high line is. So,
oh yeah.
I don't know if I said this last week, but we were watching the High Limit series and I was on my computer looking at pictures from the High Limit race we did to make a TikTok. And I'm trying to find pictures of Larson and Rico. And I'm trying to get them so I can do the 9x16, iPhone or Android TikTok length shot. And I have none of Kyle Larson because all of them are him up on the top side. I had to go through and edit them down, crop them down to get the just enough of his car.
So what was the deal with Ryan Blaney?
Okay, so
because I heard he
was penalized, disqualified,
yeah,
and then rescinded and not disqualified. Something about minimum shock length. They're allowed so much travel in the shocks, a minimum and maximum. His didn't meet the minimum travel, and then on Sunday he's disqualified. Then Monday they rescind the penalty, saying that they had issues with their equipment, but it wouldn't have mattered because everyone else hit. I don't know if it's NASCAR just trying to keep the playoff drama alive, trying to, pad the playoff points. Blaney is a favorite, not a favorite.
Are they trying to help Larson out against Byron? Because Blaney finished ahead of Byron.
Just had a weird, rough kind of day. But I don't know if it was that because Blaney's already in almost a must-win situation. So I don't know there. It's a weird one. I don't know if it's just one of those ones where it's like someone didn't have the machine calibrated right, and the minimum travel length was 2.5 inches and his was 2.49, and then they were just like, they were going to release the results because NASCAR is trying to be more open with these these disqualifications, this, that, and the other, and they were like, we really can't release, these results of it being 1/100th of an inch off. And, this just looks silly, but I don't know there with, but like I was saying, with the win this weekend, it kind of makes Kyle Larson the championship favorite.
Yeah. I mean, he's,
we can just talk about the week he had last week. Tuesday night, wins the High Limit Championship. No not much of an no.
That was 2 weeks ago.
No, it was last week.
Was it last week?
It was last week.
No, it was last week.
It was Tuesday because we talked about it on the podcast
Okay.
because we did the podcast Wednesday. Tuesday goes out, wins the High Limit Series championship. This was a joke I wanted to make last week, and I'm so mad. I kept it in the back of my head all episode last week and didn't make the joke. Kyle Larson wanted to win a sprint car championship so bad, he created his own series to win a sprint car championship.
I think you did say that.
Did I? Okay.
I think you did.
Okay, we got off the episode, and I was like, did I make my joke? Did I make my joke? So goes out, wins High Limits. Thursday, does his rookie orientation for the Indy 500, passes with flying colors, says, oh, I wish I could have gone faster. What kind of maniac goes 215 miles an hour and then just goes, oh, I could have gone faster. I wish I was allowed to. And then goes out, dominates Vegas, securing his way into the round of 4, basically making himself the favorite for Vegas. I don't know.
Let's put this fucker in an F1 car next? See what he can do. Let's get him into a sports car. Let's get him into IMSA. Put him in a GTP. Let's see him on a road course.
24.
Yeah, let's do it. Come on, put him in. Maybe not a GTP. Put him Tower. Field him in one of your cars.
No. We need a Garage 56 entrance at the Rolex of screw it. Just run the 4 Hendrick drivers.
That would be freaking amazing.
I mean, I don't know how much you want Alex in there. Well, he almost won Indy Road Course a couple years ago, so. But, put the NASCAR road course ringers in with Larson. Do Larson, Chase, and the Dinger in there.
Wasn't it Bell?
Yeah, if you want to do, well, I was thinking more just keep it along Chevy drivers.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, or throw Bell in there. Since Toyota complained about the whole Garage 56 thing. If we want to keep it...
That would be so cool to have a.
Yeah, I mean, do it that way. Put them in if we're going to go old school, do a Corvette. I know they're not doing factory Corvettes next year, but Rick Hendrick, you got the money. Buy a C8 and put your boys in on the Rolex.
Yeah. I mean, let's see what he's got. He's like the GOAT.
Come on, you've got
the modern era.
I mean, I don't, and that brings up my question of the day. Do you think Kyle Larson can unseat Chase Elliott as the fan favorite?
I think so, and it's only because of what he does in the dirt world. But can he bridge the gap to the NASCAR fan that doesn't go to a racetrack on the weekend?
I listen to, obviously every week I listen to the Teardown and Door Bumper Clear, and I think the Teardown had a good piece on Kyle Larson, and I think both of them did, about what Kyle Larson has done for the dirt world, how Kyle Larson is a racer's racer, where it's, he created this High Limit series to bring these big names to your local track. I mean, who would have thought years ago we'd have 3 big names in sprint car or in NASCAR, in Kyle Larson, Alex Bowman, even though he didn't race our High Limits, his car was there, and Ricky Stenhouse, Daytona 500 winner, at our little hole-in-the-wall track, Wayne County, on a Tuesday night.
Yeah, it's...
And pack the place.
Yeah, it's super packed. Like, the most packed I've seen it the whole season.
I mean, for weird nerds like us, we're like, this is the coolest thing in the world. if you were to ask me my favorite NASCAR drivers right now, Kyle Larson's probably top 2, maybe top 3.
Who's number 1? I would never guess.
I don't know. I don't I don't know. Maybe the person I've spent like $300 on his merch store.
But to think though that the most favorite drivers right now, like across the board, which is what Chase Elliott, Larson, and who else? Bowman. I mean, it's all Hendrick drivers.
That's the weird thing about NASCAR, I think, is you'll always have Hendrick will always have the favorite drivers. You had Dale Jr. years ago, Casey Kane on there, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson. He's always got the biggest names. He's always got the winning drivers and this, that, and the other. I don't know. I mean, that's the same thought I've had this year with Xfinity is who's the next ones to come up? The last couple of years in Xfinity were very intriguing because you had like rivalries between Ty Gibbs and Noah Gragson or Sam Mayer, both of which, you had Ty on Joe Gibbs, biggest team in there, and Noah and Sam Mayer on JRM, the second biggest team. Who roots against Dale Jr.? No one roots against Dale Jr. So it's one of those ones where who's the next big name? You look back at the Truck Series in Xfinity this year. Who's those big names? Carson Hocevar was a big one, but he's stepping up to Cup next year. Zane Smith dominated all last year, did fairly well this year. He's moving up to Cup next year. Who are those big names coming up anymore? You've got a lot of these solidified lineups in Cup Series now. Hendrick has all of his drivers signed on multi-year deals. The only one that I would say is any bit of a question mark right now is Alex Bowman, and he's a little injury prone right now. But, next year, him and Chase could go on a tear. This year it was Kyle and Bowman, or Kyle and Byron, but next year it could be Chase and Alex. Pre-injury this year, Alex was leading the points up until he broke his back.
I think it's really funny how right now in the playoffs that out of the 8 cars that are still eligible, well, there's 7 still eligible to move on to the next round. 4 of them are Toyotas. It's 2 Chevy, 2 Ford, and 4 Toyota. 3 Joe Gibbs racing cars. Followed by Hendrick with 2, and then you have 2311 Team Penske and RFK in there.
Yeah, I mean, every year you're going to have Joe Gibbs and Hendrick. They're going to take at least 2 or 3 spots in the championship 4. Tyler Reddick, I think, is another one of those just kind of generational talents, but kind of more of like your, I don't want to say Jeff Gordon to like your Dale Jr. or not Dale Jr., Senior and Jimmy, but like he's just an overall good race car driver. Blaney, he comes from a racing family, drives for Penske. The playoffs are kind of wide open at this point. You've got Truex, who this week had his first top 10 of the playoffs. Where 7 races into the playoffs, and he finally got a top 10 in the playoff. But his
regular season championship winner.
But that's the NASCAR doesn't make the regular season seem that important. But look, it's carried him into the round of 8. because he should have been out in round 1. But that regular season championship has carried him into the round of 8. And, you have Kyle Larson win this week at Miami, a track he's strong at. That could help Truex into the championship 4. And, the championship race at Phoenix, the win is whoever gets off of pit road first in the last pit stop. That's it.
Is it a very follow the leader track?
It's a very follow the leader track. It's a very, if you're not passing on the restart, that's the one where they go like 5-6 wide. They cut the dog leg.
Oh, it's one of those.
Yeah. That, the championship the last 3 years has been decided on who gets off of pit road first. Chase Elliott won the championship in 2020 because his crew was smart enough to know one of the guys went over the wall too soon. He went back, touched the wall, went around and did his tire change, and Chase ended up first off of pit road, and that won him the championship. Chase or Kyle, his was the same way. The final pit stop, he was the first one off of pit road, won the championship. Same with Joey last year. It's just who's the first one off of pit road wins the championship.
Now, you would think that NASCAR would want a track that would produce a better racing product and a little bit better of a contention. If you're going to have this playoffs, why not have a track that's better?
Which one did I listen to? I listened to the teardown today. That was the topic on the teardown, is why not move it to Vegas, where, you had Christopher Bell at the end of the race this week chasing down Kyle Larson and, almost winning. He lost by half a car length. Those last 10 laps of that race this week, and it's edge of your seat, where unless there's a caution or something at Phoenix, you could go a full green flag tire run or fuel run and nothing happens, as long as they're the first off pit road and something crazy doesn't happen on the restart. But yeah, we'll see. It's fairly intriguing, where like we know Kyle Larson is in. Not shocking at all. I'm still at this point thinking it's going to be my original Final Four prediction. It's going to be the Hendricks versus the Gibbs. It's Willie B, Kyle, Denny, and Martin. Which also, there was another thing on, I think, the teardown this week is, if I was Martin Truex and I won the championship, I'd retire. It's been a 2-year thing of is he gonna retire? Is he gonna retire? Why would you not win that championship and be like, see ya, and go live your life? Or just,
it makes sense.
Joe Gibbs is going to give him a job if he wanted to. Do a Kurt Busch, be the director of fun at Joe Gibbs Racing. And that brings up another thing of, is they had mentioned this on the teardown, is Joe Gibbs hurting Christopher Bell by not allowing him to race dirt cars? Because Bell comes from that background. Bell comes from racing midgets with Kyle Larson. Joe Gibbs not Joe Gibbs. Like I said earlier, Kyle Larson was a Toyota development driver. And, just like in the past, Toyota only having so many teams, they gave up on, Kyle Larson went to Chevrolet. And when Christopher Bell came up, they didn't let that happen. So is it a thing where they're hurting C. Bell by allowing him not to race? Because one of the things that's made Kyle Larson so dominant is that year in 2020, he took off and just went and dominated every track in, the U.S. racing sprint cars.
Yeah, it was great practice to.
We will see it this weekend when he's riding the wall at Vegas all weekend. Like I just said 5 minutes ago, all my pictures from High Limits is Kyle Larson riding that top line, just riding the fence every time.
So maybe Gibbs will have a change of mind.
I don't think so. I think Gibbs is like Penske. Now, you being a little newer to NASCAR, you weren't listening to Door Bumper Clear 2 years ago when TJ Majors was spotting for Penske during like What an Idiot, spot on, spot off. TJ had no opinions on anything because he was so afraid of the backlash from the Penske organization. We've talked about it before. We're surprised Bus Bros is a thing because,
it's,
the Penske guys have to be so buttoned and polished all the time. I've said it a million times. NASCAR and IndyCar, they don't have the popularity that they have because their drivers can't be drivers.
And that's nice. You see in IndyCar that McLaren lets their drivers be drivers. Larson's able to be out. I mean, Larson doesn't really have.
He doesn't have much of a personality. But
no,
Larson,
he's so chill.
I was just going to say.
All the time, though.
Larson has that chill personality where he's obviously one of the biggest names in racing in North America right now, that he's going to these little tracks and he's doing a half an hour to an hour every night at his merch trailer doing autographs.
Yeah,
I have a diecast in that case right there that I got signed last year at Larson's trailer. I walked up, I did the autograph line, and then walked right next door and bought a hoodie from him. And he was like, "Oh, dude, thanks. Do you want that signed too?" And I was like, "No, I actually like to wear them, and I'd be afraid to wear it." And he's like, "Dude, I get it."
Yeah, it's like, no matter how big he gets, he's still in touch with
the reason I like Alex Bowman so much is he'll just be like, "Yeah, I'm a depressed piece of shit," and stuff like that.
I don't know why they don't put some of these drivers that actually have a personality, because it doesn't seem like there's many in NASCAR. Maybe there are, and they just don't let them.
That's the thing. I mean, I don't know if you've gotten any of it. If you ever see the Forever 4 videos that Stuart Haas has been doing about Kevin Harvick, I mean, some of those are hilarious. Kevin Harvick should be way bigger than he is, but it's become such a and I've said this before, it's become such a media trained thing. Chase Elliott, since he's been able to walk, has been media trained.
Yeah, I was surprised that Stuart Haas did the whole Talladega Nights thing, and they did the commercial skits.
Why is that? Why is that not more prevalent? We've seen. I mean, we've been doing this podcast for 10 months now. We started at the beginning of January. And I've said this since day one about F1. The only reason F1 is where it's at right now, the only reason they have 3 races in the United States right now is because of
Ricciardo.
Drive to Survive, personalities like Daniel Ricciardo and Lando, and now Max all of a sudden, who's just allowed to be a real person and not a robot.
Yeah, I think it's because he's already won in all this. So they were like, "You're gonna win. Just go ahead and have fun." And he's like, "Dad, am I allowed to have fun?"
They're letting these guys be real people. It's not a robot of, well, yeah, next week we'll get him. Another reason why I love Bubba. He's another one who'll be like, "Oh yeah, I'm a, he has a bad race," and he's like, "I'm awful. I hate everything. Everything's my fault. I did terrible." And it's like, dude, you were wrecked out 3 laps in without your doing, and it's like, it's it's real. It's not, oh, well, we had a great Napa Chevy this week. I'd like to thank UniFirst and Napa and all our sponsors. This was a great Hendrick Chevy, but, next week we'll go out and get them.
Yeah, you either have
it's not going out
trained Kyle Busch and Hamlin, and then you have the fun ones.
See, well, here's the thing.
Because, I mean,
I'll disagree on the Kyle Busch thing because I think Kyle Busch is one of the real ones. He just wasn't liked because NASCAR fans are kind of psycho. It is the most America sport there is, and he drove for Toyota. If this whole time Kyle Busch was driving for RCR or, a Ford Oval or Chevy Bowtie, I think he would be more popular. There's been a lot this year about his popularity rising going to Chevy. I think with his personality and driving somewhere else and just being whoever he is, just saying whatever's on his mind, he's a little bit of a crybaby, but Denny Hamlin's way worse.
Oh, yeah.
That I think he would be more popular. And like I said, we've seen it this year with his switch to Chevrolet.
Yeah, I don't know who's a bigger crybaby, Danica or Denny.
I'm going to go with Denny. Even though, like I've said, I like his podcast. I just hate Denny Hamlin as a driver.
Just never listen to it the week after something goes bad with him, because that's all he's going to talk about.
So one of the reasons I hate Denny so much is the first year I started getting back into NASCAR in 2020, he won like 10 races. Him and Harvick won like 20 of the races that year. So, but yeah, I mean, this is why I asked you earlier about the most popular driver. You've got Chase Elliott, who's won the most popular driver how many years in a row now? And the guy has zero personality.
This piece of paper right here has more personality.
I mean, you just explained his personality when you went, hey,
hey.
I don't know if you noticed when I did my little spiel there, I used Chase Elliott sponsors there. Our Napa UniFirst Chevy was it was great. It's none of this. It's none of that old school like, our Napa Chevy was great today, but I'm just an idiot and I shouldn't have done these things. The passion you want to feel from these guys, not just, I'm just terrible, blah, blah. It's
I want, the pizzazz, or I want Kyle Busch, or was it Kyle Busch, or was it, is it Kyle Busch that in some of the older interviews he'd be just answering the same question?
Yeah, Kyle Busch would do like that
answer.
Yeah, he'd do like the Allen Iverson. It was practice. This was practice. And that's why I said I think Kyle Busch, his main thing was he won a lot, which we all don't like when someone wins a lot. And then he drove for Toyota. Like I said,
whereas Keselowski used to do that too, didn't he?
Yeah.
Wasn't he very much like would just not give the media anything to go on? Just
so it's a lot of this like you don't show the person. I don't know if you saw on Twitter yesterday / last night, Bubba and Blaney going at it on Twitter.
Yeah, what was I kind of saw that.
They're IRL best friends.
Oh, okay.
So like they were just like you and I giving each other shit about something all the time. That's all it was. But that's the things fans want to see. You want to see that this guy is, they're a real person. They're not this media trained, machine that gets in the car every week and wins races. You want to go out there and see that. Perfect example. Daniel Ricciardo's a big goofball. He's going to do whatever he can for a laugh, and he's going to make you laugh.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to seeing what kind of stunt he pulls this week
TikTok, there were videos of him getting into a car in Nashville with a cowboy hat on.
Yeah, he was, and he's going to bars and doing karaoke and, and all
How
this.
simple is that of just him getting into a, getting into the F1 car in a cowboy hat? It's a 30-second video. Every American is going to lose their mind that, Daniel Ricciardo's wearing a cowboy hat, getting into a F1 car in Nashville.
He is the most American F1 driver, and we have an American F1 driver.
I don't know why it's been such a big argument this year of we need an American F1 driver. No, we've got Daniel Ricciardo.
Yeah, Daniel Ricciardo, he's right there. He has a house in LA. He lives here part-time. It's like,
we don't need Logan Sargent, who is just as boring as Chase Elliott is, going, oh, well, we wrecked out in Q3. No, we've got Daniel Ricciardo. He's an honorary American. He's more American than most Americans. And give him, we got him.
I think that's because where he's from in Australia is very American-esque. Like the country parts of Australia and South Africa are very American.
I have an internet friend who this is going to date me a little bit, that I had met on Tumblr, who is from Australia. She loves America. She absolutely loves the United States. She tried to emigrate here. She just couldn't afford it and had met a guy in Australia. But she's, I think, this week on her honeymoon in New York City right now.
It's a mutual hate for the British.
Yeah, that's we're just all the British's cousins, and we all just hate that one cousin. But we don't. NASCAR needs to do, and I've said it with IndyCar too. You've got bus bros and everything, but I do like some, and this has been kind of an ongoing thing. I like some of the stuff McLaren's putting out. I don't know how to spread it a little bigger. That's kind of the problem with some of these algorithms and stuff is, I've posted some dirt stuff on Twitter, TikTok and Instagram, using both our Ohio Motorsports account and my own personal account to kind of see where it might do better. Because I do think Instagram kind of blocks us because it's a business account and we're not paying to promote the things.
Yeah.
But, if you go on TikTok, and I use the same hashtags on everything. Like, I literally have them saved in the notes on my phone. I have one video that used a very popular sound. It's got almost 7,000 plays and almost 500 likes. But then I use like a CapCut thing. It's got 1 like and 31 views.
Yeah, it's crazy. You have to use what's.
But I think I forgot to hashtag it FYP.
Oh.
Which, it's crazy that does anything.
It really does. It's so weird.
All of my other ones tend to stall out at about 200, 300 views. That I've got one in the books that I'll send you afterwards that I want to do a little more editing on. But like, it's very weird how it's not doing much of anything. But you like one damn F1 video.
Oh, and that's all you'll get.
That's all your feed's going to be. I liked a video today of I think it's one of the F1 podcasts of Daniel Ricciardo's shoes sitting on a table, and it's like, don't do a shoey, don't do a shoey, don't do a shoey. And, it's just a hand reaching out. the next 20 videos, every other video was an F1 video.
Yeah, and it's weird because you don't even have to like the video. If you just watch it a few times, it just knows.
You
Like, it
set the
assumes
phone
you-
down while you're doing something else.
Yeah, and it's playing and playing and playing.
But yeah,
Holy
we've been
moly.
on for an hour and a half.
And there wasn't even that much racing to talk about. But we
It's because I was I had some libations tonight through my Ben Rhodes.
Well, next week, I don't know if we'll be coming at you on Wednesday. I still have to talk to you about this. We might have to do Thursday. My Wednesday is very packed next week.
Well, I don't do anything, so Thursday will probably work.
So hopefully, the guest you were talking to over the weekend would be able to come on next Thursday.
I'll hit him up this week. So
And remember, if you would like to come on the podcast, hit us up on Facebook, either one of us or one of the accounts. Looking for guests, have something to do with racing industry. Hit us up. That'd be a driver, track owner, series runner, whatever. Come on, we'd like to talk to you and have you here. I don't know.
Hey guys, it's only been 10 months. We're working on some of these things.
It took us 10 months to finally decide, hey, maybe we should get some guests on here.
10 months and probably 10 listeners for a total of 10 minutes. So I think sometimes we just do this for ourselves, not to, like, when we see each other, have to talk about it and annoy Kyle's wife for an hour and a half. We can
That's
just
good. It's our good little hangout time. It's the podcast. It's like the podcast version of sitting in your garage drinking and talking to your buddy about your sports, your favorite sports and teams and stuff.
Yeah. So just be on the lookout next week for it. We'll post things. Maybe sometimes we'll remember things.
All right, guys, we'll see you next week here for the FTI podcast.
And see you later.